Good morning, Little Masters, and welcome back to today's Tolkien Times. I'm the Man of the West, also from the Prancing Pony podcast. Let's go ahead and get started with Week 49's Word Nerd Wednesday. Now, last week, after spending most of the series covering words in Aldarion and Arendis, as well as a long-expected party, we talked about Theoden, wishing him good health, the Eorlingus, and the names of Eowyn and Eomer. Today, we're going to talk about the names of an Elvish king from our readings in the Lay of Leithian. Now, anybody who has listened to the Prancing Pony podcast for very long at all will know that my favorite elf from the First Age is Finrod Felagund. So today, we're going to look at his name, or rather, his names. And for Finrod, we're going to take a deep dive into the history of Middle-earth, Volume 12, The Peoples of Middle-earth, and one of Tolkien's late writings known as the Shibboleth of Fëanor. Now, there we learn that Finrod is the Sindarin form of the name originally given to him by his father, Finarfin. His name, Telerin in form, was Findrato and means golden-haired champion. In fact, Tolkien writes in the Shibboleth that Findrato and his brother Angarato, Sindarin Angrod, were originally given Telerin names because Finarfin spoke the language of his wife's people, his wife being Eärwen, the daughter of Olwe, Lord of the Teleri, and speed bump to Fëanor. So he named his children in Teleri. And by the way, this includes Findrato's famous sister, Nerwende Artanis, better known as Galadriel. So how did Tolkien go from Telerin Findrato to Sindarin Finrod? He explains in the Shibboleth that the names of the children of Finarfin proved easy to render into Sindarin in form and sense because of the close relationship of the Telerin of Aman to the language of their kin, the Sindar of Beleriand. Now, he also points out that their natural forms in Quenya would have been Artafinde and Artanga, because Quenya preferred the older order in which the adjectival stems preceded, while in Telerin and Sindarin, the adjectival elements often were placed second. Now, the names Findrato and Angarato are so similar, Tolkien even goes so far as to say that it is probable that both brothers first received the name Arato, meaning champion, and they were later differentiated. The Find in Findrato referred to hair, Tolkien says, but in this case, to the golden hair of this family derived from Indus. So that's Finrod, the Sindarin form of Findrato. But what about Felagund? Now that is a very interesting story, and for that we start in the Index of Names in the Silmarillion, where we're told that the name Felagund was Dwarvish in origin, Felak Gundu, cave hewer, but translated in the text as Lord of Caves. Now we go back to the Shibboleth of Fëanor and a small section with the heading, The Dwarvish Origin of the Name Felagund. There we are told about a Dwarvish root Felek, meaning hew rock, and Felak, with an A, F-E-L-A-K, meaning a tool like a broad-bladed chisel, or small axe head without haft, for cutting stone, or to use this tool. Now then Tolkien tells us about a second Dwarvish root, and its cognate Gundu, meaning underground hall. Thus, Felak Gundu, cave hewer. Tolkien writes, this name was given because of Finrod's skill in lighter stone carving. He cut many of the adornments of the pillars and walls in Nargothrond. He was proud of the name. And when Felak Gundu is cinderized, it becomes Felagund. Still, the other elves would often change it to Felagon, as if his name had the same ending as Turgon, Fingon, and so on, with the first element in that case coming from Sindarin fail, meaning fair-minded, just, or generous. Now, that still fits Finrod, but it isn't the actual association or meaning of his name. But in another writing, a typescript text that Tolkien titled Revision of Quenya and Sindarin, dated in 1969, and included in The Nature of Middle-earth, edited by Carl F. Hostetter as The Founding of Nargothrond, we read another spin altogether on the name Felagund. There he writes, the Sindarin stem Filig is mostly confined to specific places in the old tales of Beleriand. Its chief interest comes from its use in the title or byname of King Finrod Felagund, said traditionally to have meant den dweller, or specifically Brock Badger. And the footnote to that reveals even more, suggesting that the nickname of Felagund in the sense of badger or den dweller was likely not given to Finrod by the dwarves, but by the sons of Fëanor, at least partly in derision. But Well, what else are the sons of Fëanor going to do? Of course it's going to be in derision. Anyway, Finrod Felagund had at least one other name, his Amalesse, or mother name, and that name was Ingoldo. Now, interestingly, that's the very same mother name of his father Finarfin, and the name means the Noldo, one eminent in the kindred, or in simpler terms, it means the wise. And that, of course, goes along with the name given to him by Beor and his people, Nom, which means wisdom. And now you know about Finrod's various names and how they came to be. And folks, that is it for today's Word Nerd Wednesday. Come back next series as we wander the wide, wild, wonderful world of words weekly on Wednesdays. And if there's a word you want to know more about, please let me know by emailing barliman@theprancingponypodcast.com. Please visit patreon.com/TolkienTimes to learn how you can support the show, get an ad-free feed, a monthly hangout with me, a bonus weekly episode, and a lot more. And join me again tomorrow on today's Tolkien Times for Third Age Thursday. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Please follow or subscribe in your podcast apps and follow @Tolkien Times on all your social media. Finally, as Faramir says, go with the goodwill of all good men.